I started kind of craving authenticity. I started looking at, my husband has silver pepper hair and it looks amazing on him. So I kind of started having these conversations like, why does it look so good on men but not on women? Like, why is that? Because it looks amazing on him. But is it because society's told me it looks amazing on him? Or does it really look amazing on him? Like, why am I going through all this expense, all this time, when the reality is some people look amazing with it? Friends, today let's talk about how do you know it's time to go silver. And today I'm going to share with you the process that I took on in determining that it was time for me to go silver. And it was a really big topic, and I wish that I could have found someone to help me make the decision, because I spent a lot of time thinking about it, say, for a couple of years. So when I turned 50, I was like, I'm ready to go silver. And then friends were like, no, you're going to look so old. You're going to look like a grandmother. You shouldn't do it. And then I joined a hair coloring club, and I was going every month for my root touch-up, and it started to get more and more cumbersome, meaning like I was going every 3 weeks, but I'd get home, like sneeze, and I'd have silver hair. So I felt like I always was looking a little bit unkept anyway, because I was constantly having roots to show. Like my hair was just showing more and more silver faster and faster. And so I started kind of realizing like maybe it's time for me to go silver. So that was the first thing, is just kind of having that thought as to what that would mean, and also encountering all that exterior feedback from people that I love. I mean, I had someone really close to my family say, oh my gosh, you're going to look older than I am. And she was already in her 80s. And so I was dealing with a lot of like external noises that kind of buffed out the noise for myself to make the decision. So one day I was getting my hair colored, the roots, and I told the woman who was helping me with my hair color, I was like, this is it. You're not going to see me again. I'm going to let it grow silver. And she was like, yeah. And I would go back, right? So it happened all the time. I'd constantly go back. And then finally, one summer, it was July 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm just going to go ahead and go silver, and let's see how it goes. And I kept thinking I should have done it during the pandemic when everybody else did. But anyways, long story short is I started getting like these little silvers here, and I fell in love with them. I was like, wow, these are really like very cool. I was always trying to get like really cool blonde highlights. Of course, my hair was really dark brown, so the highlights were really hard to ever get to be like look good. So I started falling in love with this little piece here. And then this piece started growing a little bit more, and I kind of started falling in love with that piece also. I also was getting like this little piece here too. And so that really started to get me excited about the possibility. It started looking like glitter to me. And so that was the first thing. I got tired. So the first step for me is I got tired of going every 3 weeks. It was always 2 hours. I'd take my laptop, I'd work, but at the same time, it was expensive, right? It was expensive and it was time consuming. And like I said, I would blink and it would just show silver hair already again. So I couldn't keep this up. What am I going to do? Go every 2 weeks? So that was the first thing. The second one is I started kind of craving authenticity. I started looking at, my husband has silver pepper hair and it looks amazing on him. So I kind of started having these conversations like, why does it look so good on men but not on women? Like, why is that? Because it looks amazing on him. But is it because society's told me it looks amazing on him? Or does it really look amazing on him? Like, why am I going through all this expense, all this time, when the reality is some people look amazing with it? And then you also have this trend of like girls in their 30s and in their 20s, like, dyeing or bleaching their hair to make it look silver. So I started kind of thinking about that in my head a little bit and kind of craving that authenticity and kind of just like being like, you know what? I don't care what society says. So maybe it's menopause talking, perimenopause, but I started having those conversations. So that was like my second kind of like wake up to start doing the silver hair. The third one is I started seeing more and more women on Instagram and on Pinterest with silver hair that looked amazing and beautiful. And that was really inspiring, because up until that point, really when you think about silver, you think about, I don't know, my generation, I'm 53, women that had silver hair, they didn't really look glamorous. They didn't look chic. They didn't look, Linda Evangelista, she looked amazing in Dynasty. But other than that, we really didn't have a lot of women who were silver hair foxes. And, but for the first time, on Instagram, on Pinterest, I was seeing more and more women showing up with their silver hair, and they looked amazing and beautiful and glamorous and young still. So that definitely helped me. So that's my third tip, is kind of like knowing, like when you start kind of following more and more in accounts that have silver hair and inspiring you and seeing how they're just like so beautiful, that really helped. You know, the roots popping out, that was the other thing. Just anyway, going back to that, it was just like so tiring. Also, the freedom and simplicity. Like, I just wanted to make my life more easy. I felt like I was just constantly doing things to, I don't know, look younger. And it's great to do things to make you look your best. I mean, I always want to look my best. It makes me feel more confident. It makes me, you know, the way that I show up in this world is how I feel on the inside. So there are all these correlations that I had. But at the end of the day, like, I just wanted to like simplify my life. I wanted to make things easier. I wanted to flow. I wanted to spend time doing the things that I love, and sitting in a chair, getting my hair, you know, done for 2 hours. I mean, I love the blow dry, but you know, it was just getting to the point where I was like, I really just want to have my life simple. So those are my reasons. Those are the things that got me to really decide to go silver. At the end of the day, you know what? I kind of liked when it was half silver, half brown. I documented it. If you go over to my Instagram, I documented every single month the process. I had so many love notes from strangers, from women that were also going through the process and giving me love. And I started really falling in love with the process of having like silver brown. It was a great conversation piece. It really got women to talk about what they were thinking about with silver hair. It's not to say that I stopped receiving hate email or hate messages. I still got those, but I really feel like it also helped develop my self-esteem, because it's just hair. There's so much more to me than just hair. You know, I feel like as a human being, if I'm going to be judged for my hair and how I look because of my silver hair, I don't really care. So anyway, I hope that those tips help you. If you are still uncertain and you want to ask me questions, feel free to drop a question below. I want to support you and guide you on this journey. And if you're interested in learning more and staying connected, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time. Bye.